from Aliens. Yeah, I knew it was the same guy from Aliens.
Oh, the old man.
Bishop.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Primarily Critical of Movies Out and After Party. This would be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you do so before viewing any further.
Because we've got spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy, and we cannot wait to share them.
Good, bad, new, weird, old, or gross.
We will pass judgment on them all.
Today, if you're an asshole and you lose your mind, you're still an asshole. My name is Steve. I'm here with
Phil. Hey.
And John. Today we're covering Falling, the Viggo Mortensen 2021 classic.
Yeah.
Phil, you picked this movie. Careful.
Oh.
Wrong movie.
Message. I don't know how that happened, honestly. Hey guys. Yeah, I picked this movie. And man, was that guy an asshole or what? Through and through.
Yeah, he pretty much, yeah, there was no kind bone in that man's body. You know, he was just thoroughly an asshole.
And we got to see basically his John's character's whole arc of from when he was, born to the time he died, basically his father, and he was an asshole from the top, beginning to end. I had to write this down. One of the first things he says to his newborn child is, "I'm sorry I brought you into this world so you could die."
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad. And of course, the baby's crying. It's just, wow.
I guess he was a little nice to the grandkids a bit. Like, he wasn't mean to them. There's,
Yeah.
But that's the outside of that. That was minimal.
Yeah. Well, he was only nice to one of them.
One of them. That's right. Yeah, the other grandkid was a faggot with his blue hair and.
Yeah, and the other one had a nose piercing.
Right.
Destroyed her for life.
Yeah. So, man, like there was nothing he didn't. There's nobody he didn't offend multiple times over, and I was like, how do you put up with a person like that? And the whole dementia aspect to the movie I thought was well done. Boy, I have experience with that in my family history, but man, it was not experienced like to deal with a human like that, like a complete
ass. This movie brings up things for people that have really dysfunctional, abusive parents, right? Because one of the things that happens when you have really abusive parents is that the day will come where you might be in charge of their care, right? And that creates a moral dilemma for those kids that have all this seething anger towards their parents, and suddenly they're in charge of their care, right? But
yeah,
it didn't really go there in this movie to the point where he had complete and total control over his father, he didn't get to that point. No.
And I don't think he ever would have given over the right to have his affairs dealt with on his behalf. Is what, at a certain point, you have to do that for your loved one, right? And what a saint John was. Like his sister, his only other sibling, basically wasn't there a lot of the time, and it fell on John's shoulders to take care of Dad, right? And it seems like recently it's gone really bad with his dementia, but he's still on the farm and he's trying to live a life. And wow, what a powerful movie, watching his family or watching him try to help his dad, right? Through everything that he said to him and the history which is so terrible.
Yeah.
Up till the end.
Right up to the end. We don't actually see him die. Now, my grandma lost her mind, and as she got older and went away, she passed on. But she was very, very to the extreme agreeable Like she would believe anything anybody ever told her. She would go anywhere and anyone would ask her to go. She would just wander around in her care home, and she would just do whatever anybody asked. She's just a very amicable person, right? So, which can be dangerous, I guess. And I know a lot of people, especially now as I'm getting older, I have friends that are getting up there, and they're not going to be like that.
Well, there's people have a nature, right? I mean, people have a nature. You said it at the beginning. Even when an asshole before you're nuts, well, you're still going to be an asshole, after you're nuts, right? And that's true, right? I mean, your nature is your nature,
It makes you appreciate your family, and if you're a good person in life, no matter what really happens to your mind, you can know that, okay, you can control this person. But man, this dad was like the worst case scenario of a onset dementia, going down that road. It's not going to get better. What a handful.
He's a nightmare. He's a nightmare. Can you imagine the day comes where he had to go to a personal care home? Can you imagine the staff having to deal with him? That would be a nightmare they dread that shift. They'd be trading that shift. They'd be like quitting their job, and the turnover rate would be nuts just because of him.
And it probably happens way more than we know, right? Like,
for sure.
Because he was a abusive guy. He was a verbally abusive, physically abusive. Different flashbacks. A lot of flashbacks in this movie. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Kind of was.
Well, I thought that they did it at the beginning. It started looking like it was either the times they made it look like it was the old man's flashbacks.
Yeah, or the son.
Then the son. And then they were being sort of somewhat consistent near the beginning of that, where showing as like looked like they were going into their own thoughts. But then at some point they just abandoned that. And it was just like the movie would just go back regardless of whose thought it was. It just started going back and forth, right? And so there was but it didn't really bother me. But if someone wanted to be picky about it, they could say, well, that was inconsistent,
Yeah.
And I would have preferred they picked two specific times and flipped back and forth between those. But no, they had present day and then different spots as they were growing up, right? And in fact, you can say which ones they were because they had the ages. We got John at age 4. We got John at age 9 and 11. We got John at age 16. And in the cast list here.
Yeah.
It maybe got a little much, the flashbacks.
Yeah.
But throughout all the flashbacks, it's consistent that this guy was not a very likable guy, and it's astonishing. Like, at what point do you think the brother and sister? We're not privy to this, but having to make that decision, we got to try to get Dad to move closer to us so we can take care of him. But they knew this from previous attempts or history. It was going to be a tough ask, and ultimately it doesn't work out. They fly him out.
No, it was the dad's idea, I think.
Yeah, because he says that to him. He said, "Dad, remember you called me and said you couldn't live on the farm anymore or whatever, right? And you wanted to come out to LA." So it made it sound like, it was originally the dad's idea, which seems like a shocker from everything you see there on out throughout the movie, right? But
maybe he just wanted to visit, and he was just using that as excuse. He had no intention of ever leaving his farm, and he would probably never give up. Power of attorney is what has to happen eventually with your affairs, right? Someone has to take control of your affairs because you're in a mental state, right? He was never going to do that. So what did you guys make of the ending? Like,
I would have liked more. I thought, okay, well, he died. I assume that. But the real mystery to me is what she said. I am so happy right now. Isn't that what she said?
Yeah. Well, they for some reason they flashed to a moment where he's having sex with her, one of his wives. I'm thinking the second one.
That was his first wife, Gwen.
Was first one.
Was it? Okay.
I saw a blonde was his first wife, and a redhead was his second wife.
Yeah.
I remember a redhead at the end of the movie, but
But,
I saw blonde at the end of the movie and it had that little gap that Gwen had in her teeth. So that's why I thought
fair
it was
enough.
Gwen.
It was dark at nighttime. Who knows?
It was kind of, it was an odd last, but who knows what your last thoughts are when you're dying, right? Like that's
as far as last thoughts go, that's a pretty good one.
I guess so.
Good one, yeah.
I guess so, but it's like it was a strange thing, but it's a wonder to think we'll never know, right? Like that's just one creative interpretation of life. You know,
what was the point of that? Was that just that he died happy? Is that what they're trying to say, or what? Or is she actually waiting for him, and she's so happy that he's this miserable bastard has re-entered her heavenly life? Like, I don't know. I thought it was a little vague, and I was a little disappointed in it personally.
So
maybe what he was going for, maybe it was no matter how crappy you are in life, you're not guaranteed to get your comeuppance. You know what I mean?
But yeah,
like he died happy. He died super happy. He spent his entire life making everybody miserable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was going to bring up that point. There was at no point in this movie is there any redemption to his character's arc. He never even till the end. And there's this amazing acting in the last part of the movie between Viggo and Lance, father and son having a blowout. John finally loses his shit like you were hoping he might do throughout the whole movie. He's taking it all in, his husband's taking it in, everybody's taking it. His sister couldn't take it and she bolted from the looks of it. And eventually John just let loose on him. And it was one of those
felt good, yeah. It was just
powerful scenes. But at no point did Dad have a redemptive bone in his body to say, "I'm sorry, son. I know I was a piece of shit." Nothing. Never.
Nothing. No.
Oh,
but that's the way these miserable bastards are. They really, really are. Like, I don't know if you know a miserable bastard, but that's exactly, they will go to the grave being a miserable bastard, and that's just the way. That's just typical. I think that's very realistic because it's just not going to happen. You people want to think in their old age they might be like, son, I'm so sorry. I know I wasn't the best father, and blah blah blah. That's all Hollywood crap. That doesn't, in the real world, no. They just go be a miserable piece of shit right till the day they croak,
So did you guys like that take on the movie? It's kind of like, it's not a Hollywood movie. It's a real life story.
Yeah.
It's like, there's not going to be a happy ending. The closest we get to a happy ending is, I guess, John washed his hands of it, and his sister, I guess, agreed we can't change his mind. He's going to die there.
You can't save somebody that won't save themselves, right? So at some point you just say, fuck them.
He compromises and says, we'll have somebody come check on you more often or something. And that's the extent of it. And I felt for John, like he devoted a lot. He tried, man. He tried. And and that's what we get.
All you could do. He could try as much as he did. And at some point he realized this is useless. And he's right. It was useless. There's nothing he could have done for his dad. There's nothing he could have done for him.
It's just a sad thing. No. Probably happens a lot, and it's wow. But holy crap, was that a powerful scene? The acting in that scene where
why they're wrestling and stuff. I was actually worried about his stitches for some reason. I was like, he's gonna rip his stitches.
The whole thing is, I've never seen like a portrayal like he was a fragile old guy on his deathbed, basically, and he still had the vigor to be that much of an asshole and fight for what? And when his son is nothing but love, right? His son is trying to be nothing but a loving son, even in the darkest. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Very emotional movie for me.
There was a point where, like, right after the argument, or it felt like right after the argument. Maybe I'm remembering things out of order, but he asked him, "How's the hunting? Have you seen any good bucks?" Like, and he's like, "I saw an 18-point or a 16-point buck. It was an 8-point buck." He said, "I saw an 8-point buck just the other day or whatever." Oh man, and you could totally just see the father-son dynamic happening. It was really.
Oh my god. Yeah. The biggest surprise of all this is that John is not a raving alcoholic when that's the kind of father he had,
Well,
and he's not more traumatized. The fact that he's so calm and he's such he's got his life together, it's a shocker if that's what you come from, because there's the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There's always some truth to that, right? And he seems pretty even keel and
okay,
calm.
guys. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't 100% sure what does happen to the original mother, Gwen. Like, she's the one that dies.
She died in an accident.
It was the car accident.
The original mom died in a car accident.
Yeah, and he was such a bastard. He wouldn't even let his children go say goodbye or see her in the hospital when she was dying.
She happened to have a guy in the car at the time.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. To me, the one biggest criticism I have about this movie, and I don't know if you guys saw it this way, it felt like the character that his dad was over the top asshole. Did it need to be? That moment in particular in that movie was like, did you need to get this dark with this guy? He was like an evil son of a bitch to the point, like no joy in his life. He didn't want anybody to have joy. The only joy you ever saw between the father and son was when the son killed his duck, right? And it seemed like a very good time in their lives. But beyond that, there was really no.
Or when he chickened out of shooting the buck, and
when they were hunting, hunting,
you're right, yeah.
So,
and to make a note on your, you said something about alcoholism. Yeah. It implies that he is a severe alcoholic, or at least was.
Oh,
because he doesn't drink.
Yeah, we don't.
That's right. Good point.
There's a lot of story we don't get to see, right? Because there is a lot of time where they left dad on the farm, and they got on with their lives, and they moved to California. So they really both son and daughter, right? So the fact that he has any relation with him, it seems strange at all. He cared enough to visit and check on him.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, he visited, before. So.
Well, dysfunction's a family thing, is a funny thing, because families will sometimes the most dysfunctional families have the strongest loyalty to one another. And it's like they have this, it's like a family shame and a family that bonds them. And they feel obligated to keep the family secrets and stuff. So even though they may absolutely they might hate their parent more than anyone on the planet, they still have this amazing need to do what that parent says and be there for that parent, because it's just a strange, loyalty that's just seared into their brain in a horrible way.
Can you imagine, if they got together for holiday dinners every Christmas, it'd be
a shit show every time.
Dad like that? Like
wine glasses flying, beer bottles being cracked, I'm sure,
No, maybe I'm piecing this together wrong, but please correct me. But there's a dude who checks in on him every once in a while. His name is Don. And Willis has a really big problem with Don. And at some point I think they said that he's the guy that remarried his second wife. Am I remembering that right?
I think so.
Or it was the son of the guy or something like that, right? I wasn't sure if he was actually the guy, because I felt like he was somehow related to the guy. But maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, you might.
He's after my farm or something like that. I don't.
Yeah, he's after. Yeah.
But
he's doing it for free.
If you're watching and you remember, kind audience, let us know.
Yeah.
He was just an asshole to everybody. I don't know how this guy made it through life with people taking care of him in any way, shape, or form. It's like he was a despicable guy. He was so vile. Did you guys catch the times when one particular moment where this movie didn't have a lot of humor in it, but I had to laugh because they're at this art gallery. They're looking at a Picasso, and he goes up closer, and Dad lets out a fart. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I caught that, yeah.
And it happens a couple times. It's like this guy he was just he didn't.
He can't control his farts, Bill.
But he was.
I don't. You don't have that thing on a button.
and
the pooter.
It's like, but I mean, I'm really impressed by Lance Henriksen's portrayal of the dad. Right, he's just all or nothing role. He's just amazing because it's a vile person he's trying to act with dementia.
Yeah,
but he's just.
Oh, he nailed it. I mean, he nailed it, man.
The opening scene where he's on the plane is like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine having to deal with this. Yeah.
Oh, I've dealt with very minor level versions of that. Yeah. I could not imagine. I've dealt with some stuff. That would be too much. Oh, but even, okay, reflecting back to the flashback scenes, even when the young version of Dad, he doesn't give a shit. He's wearing his boots in the house all the time. He during one of the birthdays, he's an asshole at the birthday party.
Smoking a cigarette, won't put it out or whatever.
Yeah, he's just a piece of shit of a guy, and it's amazing this guy has anybody in his life at that end of his life, but because he looks like he made it into his 80s or something, right? He's an old tough son of a bitch for some reason. He's still hanging on, smoking the whole time. Right?
I figure that guy that is plowing his driveway or whatever, or mowing his grass, I figure he is after the farm, because there's no reason anyone would do that out of the kindness of their heart for an asshole like that. I mean, other than family, right? So he's got to have some agenda, because no one, I don't care how nice you are, I don't care if you're Mother Teresa, you would not be doing it for that man after all the shit he's done, right? So you got to have an agenda.
Yeah. But you see what I mean, guys? I maybe this guy was just too vile, like over the top. There's nothing. But
I think that was the point. That was the point.
Oh, they drove that home. They drove it home.
Yeah, they drove it home.
But I overall, I think this is an important movie. I enjoyed it. I don't know what you guys thought. Like,
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did find the ending disappointing. It was the word I would use for that. It was just
it's a tough watch of a movie, right? It's a tough movie to watch, I think.
John, did you want to see them lower him into the ground?
Yeah, or maybe kick his. I don't know. I almost wish.
Have the horse step on his head.
Yeah, something like that would have been a little more satisfying. But
you know what I think happened? He died of hypothermia right there right by his horse. Because
I just don't like that vague ending with the woman though, with the sex thing. I just thought like you could have just left it that he croaked with a smile on his face or whatever, you know. But I didn't quite get why Gwen, why she's even if he just was imagining having sex with her, but what she said. I am so happy right now, or something. I thought, what does that mean? Like, why? Yeah. What is there? Am I missing here? There's something to this that I am missing. I don't like a movie ending like that. You know.
And you know what I do when I can't make sense of an ending to a movie? I go on YouTube and I search for somebody somewhere saying something.
Yeah. Did you
I found
do that
nothing. I did.
You found nothing.
Nothing.
Oh.
You guys right now, we're the only people talking about this. Somebody comment about the ending.
Yeah.
It's an odd ending to a pretty emotional, very emotional movie, and then this weird ending.
Exactly. That's it. I love the movie, but just that ending just was that's my biggest gripe.
I think the best we got out of this movie for some kind of I got you back, or you're an asshole and give you your coming was that blowout,
Yeah.
That's all.
It was a payoff. It was a payoff. It was almost like sexual tension in a way. It was. I mean, it was tension for sure, right? I mean, it just see this building and building throughout the movie, and you're like, holy cow, this guy's patient. Yeah. Like, I think most the average person would have clubbed this guy a long time ago, but he's taken it, and then it was a payoff for all us viewers to watch him just dig into him like that. We're like, it was like he has it coming,
Really gave it something.
Yeah.
And man, that was a powerful scene. It'll last in my mind from that movie for sure. It's like, whew,
yeah.
Some great stuff there.
I'm gonna get a beer.
Shall we dig into this trivia?
Yeah, man.
All right. The scenes of the dead duck and the snake are real. I forgot about the snake. Are real incidents from writer director Viggo Mortensen. Mortensen and his youth. He told the stories over a couple of visits on The Late Show with Dave Letterman.
Yeah.
So this might be kind of a self-portrait, possibly, for Vigo.
Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to read up on that, and I never got the time to do it. But what was the ratio? Does Vigo have a really dysfunctional relationship with his father in real life, or is that?
No,
Check out the next trivia point.
Okay. Oh well, yeah. I mean, it was a sweet kind of innocent childhood memory with the duck and the whole thing surrounding that, and
yeah.
I mean that was true. So let's go on to the next trivia just to fill all this together. Both Viggo Mortensen parents suffered from dementia, and so I've seen interviews with Viggo about this movie, and basically it is based on his experiences, but it's fictional. This awful man that they created for the movie was not. I mean, it's not his father, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but maybe it's his worst nightmare when dealing with dementia.
Yeah. I think so. I think
yeah.
He went there dramatically to pump up. What is your worst case scenario of a person with this condition, this disease? And boy, he found it. It was like a real wow. How do you deal with that person? That's where the drama comes from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So who's got next trivia there?
Well, that's a little short one.
I could take it if you want to take the last one.
Sure.
All right. This feature film was Viggo Mortensen's debut as a director. Oh my goodness. Debut film. He was, listen, I was a fan of Viggo Mortensen from the Lord of the Rings movies, but I really liked him after I watched Mr. Fantastic, which I believe was a Phil pick.
Captain Fantastic, yes.
Captain Fantastic. Anyway, I really enjoyed him after watching that movie. I was like, this guy is great. I love this guy. And thank you again for picking that. It's in our collection of podcasts, but I think YouTube took it down because they thought it was a bootleg version of the movie.
What?
But I know. But don't worry, it's in the collection. It's on the website, primarycritical.com. But the next trivia point.
Sure. All right. Viggo Mortensen says that when shooting David Cronenberg's scene as this proctologist, Cronenberg kept moving his gloved hand closer to the lens. Viggo asked if he realized it was forcing the perspective, making his hand look unnaturally large, to which Cronenberg, director of many body horror films, replied, "Yes, I'm quite aware of that."
So he wanted his hand to look really large before he jammed it up the guy's butt.
That's right.
I want to stick this inside of you.
that whole, like, okay, we didn't talk about the fact that the dad was he had colorectal cancer, I believe, and he was dealing with that. Thus, all the scars or the healing. He was healing, and you could imagine if the ending of the movie, he was dying of hypothermia, maybe, or the horse stepped on him. For all we know, he would have died from an infection for not taking care of that operation he had, and he didn't care about his diet, so he was a lost cause. He had none. I'm surprised he let the proctologist just do this thing even.
Yeah, and with people in the room, like, is that really, your son and was it his son's husband that was in there too, or the sister?
I don't remember.
I think he did the proctology thing in his own town.
Oh yeah.
I think they had already returned to home.
His doctor.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys notice the quick cameo of the other? This movie was shot in Canada and Ontario, and they got, for another doctor, they got the guy from Due South popped in. Paul Gross, I think is his name. He pops in as the doctor, and it was kind of a cool little cameo because David Cronenberg's in it too, and so I just love what Viggo's up to with his career. I think he's been afforded from the Lord of the Rings the opportunity to do what he wants with his career. I hope made a lot of money off that, perhaps. And now he's doing the projects he wants to do, and he chose to do his first movie was a very a great topic to make a movie about dementia, family, dealing with that.
Yeah, I think it was something he wanted to do. I don't think it was. It
was a passion
the Hollywood elites twisting his arm.
This wasn't the Hollywood type of movie, and a labor of love.
Have you heard if he has aspirations to continue to direct, or is this just a passion project that he just decided to direct, but that he has no real intentions of becoming a serious director? Or have you heard?
I don't know. What I understand, it took him a lot. It was hard to get this movie financed to be made at all. So as a director, I mean, if this movie isn't successful enough, I don't know if he'll get another shot to be financed to make a movie. So hopefully he's afforded more opportunities to direct.
You know, and he strikes me as a guy that doesn't go into things like this lightly.
No, he wrote, produced, and directed, and he composed music for this. It was a passion for him. But as an actor, I can't believe he wouldn't get any acting job on the planet if he so chose to do it. Yeah. He's one of those actors, to me, could do anything and make a project better. So...
Sorry. Yeah. Man, the clock is really going against me today. Sorry. I'm yawning too much.
I'm yawning a lot today too.
Yeah.
So anyways, I could add to the, if you want to see a good interview with Viggo about this movie, there's on YouTube, it's called Q on CBC. It's on YouTube. It's just an interview with him for like 40 minutes. It's great. Gives you a lot of insight into the movie. And I recommend it.
Q on?
CBC.
CBC?
It's a good show. It's a Canadian thing. So
nice. I'll just check it out. Is that Falling, gentlemen?
I think that's Falling.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. We are Primarily Critical. That was Falling. You are awesome for joining us. And next week, Monday at noon, we're covering. Wait for it. Wait for it longer.
What is it?
The Hollers.
The Hollers. You know,
John.
Why did I pick it up? Well, I saw it a long time ago. I like this movie. Just on a side note, what was hilarious is that we have a remote where we try to say what you want to watch into the remote, right? You press a button and you say, we tried for like 15 minutes. I tried, Lori tried, then I tried again just to get the Hollers. And so I tried every accent. We were like, the Hollers, we were like, but it kept on wanting to get like Haulers, right? We couldn't get, so we're like Hollers, and no, just, so somebody out there can get it, their remote to do I'd love to hear from it because there's got to be a trick. I don't know what it is, but
it's just like a movie we reviewed recently. The AI is not quite there yet with the speech recognition.
Oh yeah,
and we're losing Steve.
I don't know what happened to Steve.
No. Phil was glitching. I'm here.
All right.
I'm here. I think my little speaker thing. My little Google.
Okay, we're all glitching.
My little Google Play thing. It was able to recognize the Holler.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the only movie that was on Netflix, and I can request stuff that's on Netflix. Say, hey Google. Sorry guys, I don't mean to mess with the Google system.
Shoot, I gotta shut my phone off.
So I say, hey, that play this movie, and it works for me. The Hollers work.
Unreal.
For me. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I've been using an app. If you ever want to try to find out stuff, Just Watch app. I don't know if you see this, right? You've heard of that
on my phone. I got that on my phone.
Shout out to Just Watch app. If you know where to find something on the streaming or cable or whatever, it tries to help you find it. So
it'll even tell me what's available at the library.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Wow, that is impressive.
Because there's so many ways to get content these days. It is getting to be ridiculous.
Are we getting money from
especially
Just
if you're
Watch,
looking.
or are they paying us something for that little plug there?
Yeah.
I swear to God, if you're the first one on this show to start getting paid, I'm gonna kick your ass.
I'm not telling you, but I won't tell you about it for years. Next time you see me, I'm driving like a Cadillac or something. You're like, how did you get the Cadillac, man?
All right. I can't wait for you guys to join us next week, Monday at noon. We'll be covering that movie, and it was really nice for you to drop by. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.